After World War II, sport became a tool of geopolitics. Behind the cloud of the Cold War, science was weaponized to turn athletes into champions. This is the story of the most extensive state-sponsored doping program in history, how it began, how deep it went, and what it left behind. In the 1970s and 80s, East Germany dominated international sport. Olympic medals and world records piled up, but behind the glory was a troubling truth. Most of the success came from systematic doping. East Germany, officially the German Democratic Republic, or GDR, was a small nation allied with the Soviet Union, divided from West Germany by the Berlin Wall. With limited size but huge political ambition, the government poured enormous resources into its athletics program. Sport was propaganda. It was about proving the superiority of the socialist system. So state funding, elite sports schools, and scientific research were all aggressively mobilized. Young athletes were identified very early, often in primary school, and filtered into state-run sports schools where performance expectations were intense. The doping program didn't start overnight. In the late 1960s and early 70s, sports scientists and doctors began experimenting with anabolic steroids, masculinizing compounds, and other performance enhancers. These substances were given to athletes under the guise of supplements or performance aids. Often the athletes, especially females and minors, were not told what they were taking or the long-term risks. Internal GDR memos show coaches and physicians discussing drug regimens, dosage schedules, deception, and how to avoid detection by international testing. What made East Germany's doping program particularly effective and infamous was how seamless it was. Everything was centralized. Athletes' medical records, drug supplies, sleep, recovery, and even nutrition were overseen by sports doctors working with government health ministries. There was a culture of secrecy. Coaches, researchers, and lab technicians all had instructions to keep doping hidden. Sometimes substances were cycled or mixed so that tests could miss them. The watertight infrastructure enabled performance gains that led to world records, championship medals, and Olympic golds across athletics, swimming, track and field, cycling, and other sports. By the mid-1970s, the cracks were beginning to show. Female athletes developed masculinized features, deeper voices, and unexpected hair growth. Questions were starting to be asked. In 1976, U.S. swimmer Shirley Babashoff vocally questioned GDR athletes, accusing them of steroid use. She was derided by the media at the time, but later revelations validated many of her suspicions. Boys and girls alike suffered hormone damage, fertility issues, and psychological stress. There were rumors of failed doping tests being covered up. At the 1977 European Cup in Helsinki, East German shot putter Ilona Slubianek tested positive for anabolic steroids. The GDR responded by taking official control of the Croatia lab, the doping laboratory, to conceal future positives better and manage testing. Though official positive tests were rare for GDR athletes at the time, internal documents from the GDR's own labs show hundreds of positive tests were recorded and suppressed, and not reported to international authorities. After East Germany ceased to exist following reunification in 1990, archives were suddenly opened. Thousands of documents, records, and athlete testimonials came to light. Some prominent individuals came forward, detailing liver damage, cardiac problems, and untreated side effects many thought were normal in training. Swimmer Cornelia Ender, who won 4 gold and 4 silver medals at the 1972 and 1976 Olympics, has revealed she started receiving injections at the age of 13. Probably the most widely known story from the program was Heidi Krieger, who was given steroids periodically from the age of 16. In 1986 alone, the year she became the European champion, She was given 2,590 milligrams of oral Turinabol. As a result of the long-term hormone abuse, she was left with all the traits of a man, and when she retired from the sport in 1990, Heidi had a sex change operation and now lives as Andreas. Several athletes have submitted legal claims for health damages, with some settlements having been reached. The World Anti-Doping Agency and its predecessors used the GDR example to tighten protocols, testing frequency, and penalties. The East German program remains one of the starkest warnings of what lengths some will go to for success. The GDR era rewrote the book on what systematic, state-backed doping looks like. Today, the shadow of East Germany's doping era hangs over every significant doping discussion. Athletes from smaller countries or under-resourced programs can be tempted to follow similar shortcuts. Fortunately, international sporting bodies tightened anti-doping rules, made testing more frequent, introduced anonymized sample storage, and developed biological passports to detect unnatural changes over time. The flip side? Many of the GDR athletes paid a price that few were aware of until decades later. Did you know about the extent of the program?